The supreme sorcerers of the comic book universes, Doctor Strange versus Doctor Fate. This is a question that has been asked as long as these characters have been published in comic books, and there are hundreds of videos, forum threads, and debates on the topic. However, I hope to be one of the first to discuss who would win between their live-action movie versions, the Marvel Cinematic Universe Doctor Stephen Strange versus the DC Extended Universe Doctor Fate. Who would win? But before we begin, I would like to emphasize that I will be covering the movie universe versions only. That means no comic book feats unless those comics are canon to the respective movie universes. Additionally, I'm not going to cover each and every power or spell that both characters have, as we'd be here forever. If you want a deep dive into Doctor Strange, I have an entire video on him, and I will have one on Fate eventually as well. But a lot of the information in those videos is going to be repeated here, just not all of it. With all that said, let's begin. Okay, actually, I'd like to mention just one more thing, and that is today's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. At this point, who hasn't heard of Raid Shadow Legends? It's one of the largest and most expansive mobile RPGs in the history of mobile RPGs. And you could be thinking to yourself, well, Garrick, I've never heard of Raid Shadow Legends. What is this? Well, then this is perfect. If you're a new player to Raid Shadow Legends, they have an awesome trick-or-treat Halloween promotion where you can win amazing prizes. Spin the wheel and you can win Amazon gift cards, in-game epic or legendary champions, and more. But the Halloween event is only for new players and it ends November 5th, so you have to act fast. Raid is available on both mobile and PC, so you can play where you want, how you want, and when you want. We here at Key Issues are quite partial to the overwhelming might of Angar, the King of Insults, which used to be my handle on Twitter before it was suspended. Fun fact. He can cripple entire waves of enemies in PvE by just infuriating him, and he's built like Nick, with a peak dad bod, which really amuses me. Now, the true key to a fantastic RPG and a great playthrough is to pick the characters that look the coolest, right? Not the ones that are the best or whatever, you know? But I decided to go with the best of both worlds, which is why I used Calvalax. He's a fantastic damage-dealing champion who poisons everyone just by entering the room. Additionally, he has a chance to poison up to 4 enemies a turn. And if those aren't your jam, fine, because Raid has just released the ultimate version of a fan-favorite character that the entire Raid community loves, Death Knight. If you got your hands on Ultimate Death Knight, you can instantly upgrade him. Use the DK Rises promo code and you can get a bunch of free items to level your Death Knight all the way to 50 and 5-star Ascension. But if you weren't lucky enough to get your hands on Ultimate Death Knight, you can still use the promo code, which comes with enough resources to upgrade any amazing character that you already have. So as always, there's never been a better time to get started or continue your epic journey. And new players, do yourself a favor, click the link in the description or this beautiful QR code, which I have right here for you. Either way, you'll net yourself a free starter pack worth almost $30, a free champion Vergis, and extra loot. Check your in-game inbox and your rewards will be there within 30 days. Thanks again to Raid for sponsoring this video. Now go on, use the codes, and crush your enemies. Hey, whoa, sorry about that, guys. I was possessed by the helmet of Dr. Raid. So anyway, let's actually begin. First, I'd like to cover the newest sorcerer to appear on screen, the illustrious Dr. Fate. An immensely powerful sorcerer and agent of the Lords of Order, Kent Nelson is granted incredible power by an alien helmet millions of years old. Hawkman says at one point that the JSA would have no chance against Black Adam without Dr. Fate, and that he has nearly godlike power. Sources outside of the film are even more direct, stating he has power that outmatches the gods. This statement makes a lot of sense for a couple of reasons. The first being that in the prequel comic to Black Adam, Fate was able to defeat one of the 6 demons that power Sabbac. With this statement in mind, it's not a crazy leap to assume that these demons would each be relative to the gods that power Shazam and Black Adam, as Sabbac was consistently more powerful than Black Adam throughout their battle. so the amalgamation of demons that created Sabbac would logically be relative, if not stronger than the combination of gods who power Black Adam and Shazam, two characters who are destined to battle in the DC Extended Universe. So, with that said, we need to figure out how powerful the gods are, and luckily we have a good idea. Long ago, Steppenwolf invaded Earth, and Zeus led a small group of old gods and an army of humans, Atlanteans, Amazons, and more to battle the new god. During the battle against Steppenwolf, Zeus used his incredible lightning to stagger Steppenwolf. Ares was able to puncture his armor, and Steppenwolf was forced to retreat. Not only was he able to drive Steppenwolf off of Earth, but Zeus was also able to destroy the Mother Box Unity. This same feat took the combined strength of resurrected Superman and Cyborg during Steppenwolf's second invasion. And this feat is very important, so I'm going to spend a bit more time elaborating on the destruction of the Mother Box Unity. After being unified, the Mother Boxes can output multi-continental levels of energy, which is up to 29.6 exatons. The Unity possesses the power to reshape and destroy entire planets over a period of time. They are stated to pack so much energy that planets are unable to resist them, and only beings more durable than planets could withstand its power. Comparing this to when Zeus created the island of Themyscira, Zeus would need to output 296 billion times more energy to separate the Mother Box Unity. And for even more consistency, according to Zack Snyder, long before the birth of Kal-El, the Kryptonians created an abomination known only as Doomsday. Not the same one that we saw during BVS, but the original. This Doomsday escaped Krypton, but not before doing some damage. During the Man of Steel watch party, hosted by Zack Snyder, he states that the moon that was shattered in the sky was actually destroyed by Doomsday, and at some point Steppenwolf battled this Doomsday, and they both lived. So using this feat, we can pretty easily surmise that Steppenwolf and Doomsday should both be able to output and endure forces up to or exceeding 25 exatons. This is enough energy to destroy continents or even moon-sized planetary bodies, and this is a lowball, as Zeus is relative to Superman, who is arguably planetary in power. For more information on him, please check out that video after this one. And let's keep this even more consistent, Black Adam is stated to have the power to be the destroyer of Earth, so this all makes sense when put together. So based on what we know, the demons who power Sabbac, Satan, Eni, Belial, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, and Kratos should all be comparable to the old gods of the Greek and Egyptian pantheons respectively, and Dr. Fate was able to defeat one of these gods with a powerful blast of lightning. We know this is one of the 6 as it refers to their future victory as Sabbac during this prequel comic, so this alone would give Dr. Fate the power to contend with the likes of Superman, Steppenwolf, Zeus, Ares, and Black Adam as we see during the events of that film. We also see in the film that other than Sabbac, Fate is the only one who can harm Black Adam, of course because only magic can defeat magic, but if Fate's magic was weak, of course Black Adam could just shrug it off. Both Black Adam and Shazam at full power should be above the likes of the individual gods that empower them, as they are the best pieces of each god combined into one perfect being. So Black Adam being able to outmuscle Fate isn't a contradiction, he should just be stronger than the gods. Dr. Fate is also seen blocking Sabbac's attacks with his magical shields. Sabbac can tear through quote-unquote indestructible nth metal like it's nothing, and is able to bully Black Adam in a 1v1. Not to mention that Fate is stated to be one of the most powerful beings in the DCEU, so that would automatically put him in the conversation with these top tier characters, but there's evidence to support this statement. And when he was forced to fight Sabbac alone, Fate erected a barrier around the temple that could withstand the combined might of Hawkman, who could launch Black Adam with his strikes, Atom Smasher, who could hold down Black Adam and who needed to charge up to even escape Atom Smasher's grasp, as well as Cyclone, who could redirect Sabbac's Hellfire. He kept this barrier up consciously while also battling Sabbac, and it wasn't until Fate was hit with a pillar of Hellfire did the barrier come down. So it's clear that he had to keep the barrier up with his magic while focusing on defending himself from Sabak. It didn't go down when Fate died, it went down after he was hit with a powerful attack, so it wasn't a barrier he didn't have to maintain. And let's keep in mind that Fate physically survived a Hellfire attack from Sabak, meaning that his body is magically empowered and should be somewhat relative to his magical attack potency. The director of Black Adam gives us some more insight into this battle, stating that Dr. Fate was actually weakened when he was fighting Sabak. This is because he had erected this massive barrier, he was saving Black Adam from his prison, and fighting Sabak simultaneously. If he chose to fight Sabak differently, he could have potentially defeated Sabak. However, this would have resulted in the death of Hawkman, which is what he was ultimately trying to prevent. So he had to fight Sabak alone to ensure Hawkman's survival. So if raw power won't work, Dr. Fate has access to many spells that can assist him. He's able to conjure terrifying and lifelike illusions catered to each opponent, as he can casually read minds, so creating an illusion that would stop someone in their tracks is an easy task. He can bewitch his opponents as well, and even break their minds if need be. Fate can also summon ethereal chains, hold back his enemies with powerful magical energy, and create clones of himself. These clones also have the raw stats of Fate and can be amplified by additional magical energy. Once empowered, just a few of these clones could hold back Black Adam briefly. He can teleport himself and others, sense magical relics and what they do, he knows the future and he can change it if he needs to, and he can seal his enemies with a magical Ankh, which is powerful enough to briefly contain Black Adam and Sabak. So despite having just one appearance, Dr. Fate is a very, very formidable adversary, but what about Doctor Strange? So let's just get right into the magical power of Doctor Strange. So Thanos is able to easily overpower and bloody up the Incredible Hulk without using the Power Stone, and he's able to do this to Thor as well, two of the most physically powerful Avengers. Even during Endgame, a younger Thanos bullies the most powerful version of Thor up to that point, as stated by the Russos, and Thor is incredibly durable, as he was able to quote-unquote endure the full force of a star, according to Eitri. However, this unfortunately doesn't make him star level. The act of creating or destroying a star is not the same as the amount of energy that star can output. In fact, the amount of energy isn't anywhere close to star level. The total amount of energy that Thor was enduring per second is roughly 855 gigatons of force, or roughly, in terms of power scaling, large island level. Because Thor was tanking this amount of energy for so long, it's not a stretch to upgrade his durability slightly to at least small country level, meaning he can endure enough force to destroy a small country. Since Thanos was able to deal as much damage to Thor as the star was, we can scale Thanos' strength to the star, and bringing this full circle back to Doctor Strange, he was able to restrain Thanos, forcing him to use the Power Stone to escape. And just to be clear here, Thanos did not need the Power Stone to get rid of each one of Doctor Strange's clones, he simply did it to get rid of all of them simultaneously, as we see that Thanos' strikes can easily destroy any of Doctor Strange's Eldritch shields, which should be the same durability as his Eldritch whips. And speaking of the Power Stone, which has the capability to destroy entire planets, calculating the total observable destructive capabilities of the Power Stone, we are able to determine that it can output over 5 ninotons of force. This number is so astronomical that it's hard to convey just how insane this is. For example, the most powerful nuclear bomb on record is the SAR bomb, able to output 50 megatons, which is quintillions of times weaker than the Power Stone. That's 1 with 18 zeros behind it. And the Power Stone may be even more powerful than we can actually calculate. As we know, celestial beings are some of the most powerful in the universe, able to each create planetary bodies, more specifically, stars, as their purpose is to create stars and spread life across the infinitely expanding void. But Eson the Searcher felt the need to seek out the Power Stone to amplify his own power. Not to mention that the Power Stone's purpose in the Infinity Gauntlet is to amplify the power of the others, allowing them to destroy half of all sentient life in the universe and possibly tear down the universe to its atoms. And Thanos unleashing the full might of the Power Stone was not enough to get past Doctor Strange's defense, the Mirror Dimension. Just to clarify, according to the novelization of Infinity War, Thanos was indeed trapped within the Mirror Dimension after Strange summoned what seemed to be a portion of the Mirror Dimension walls. However, the Mirror Dimension was in actuality summoned all around Thanos. Thanos was then forced to use the Power Stone in concert with the Reality Stone to break through and return to his dimension. Quote, Strange cast a spell that encased Thanos in a crystal prison. Thanos smirked as he used the Reality and Power Stones to break the prison into 1,000 shards. So, the Mirror Dimension's barriers were strong enough to endure the planet-annihilating power of the Power Stone, while Strange's spells could somewhat contend with the massive power of Thanos himself. As for his wide variety of spells, he can enchant everyday items, transmute non-living matter, conjure magical relics. One of his best offensive options is his astral projection and astral push. Strange can force his astral form out of his body and into the astral plane, which is an alternate dimension that is sort of aligned with our own. While in this astral form, the physical limitations of his body are tossed aside and he can move freely throughout this dimension without anything impeding him. But if need be, he can still interact with the physical world. This ability makes him extremely dangerous, as he could use his astral form to battle his opponents without them ever being able to detect or interact with the spirit. Although there is a downside to this. If his astral form has been projected out, his body is left limp and lifeless until he returns to it. Not only this, but others who have mastered this ability can interact with his spirit as well. But as we know, he can not only project out his own astral form, but he can push the astral form out of others, which without countermeasures is pretty much a one-hit KO. As a practitioner of the mystic arts, he is also equipped with a sling ring, which can open portals to anywhere in the world and even to other dimensions. Sling rings can be used for travel or for combat, as shown by Wong and Doctor Strange during the events of Infinity War, No Way Home, and Shang-Chi, just to name a few. If Strange is ever found in a situation where he is ill-equipped to deal with a threat, he can always use the sling ring to remove himself or his opponent from the battle, as Wong does to Cull Obsidian, or he could summon the Mirror Dimension and leave with the sling ring, trapping his target there for eternity. The Mirror Dimension is similar to the Astral Plane, as it is a dimension aligned with our own, but it mirrors ours. Strange has the ability to summon the Mirror Dimension around his opponent, which we've mentioned earlier against Thanos. He does this as well against Caecilius to prevent the destruction of the Sanctum, and against Spider-Man to prevent Peter from fleeing. If simply trapping his opponent isn't the goal, he can also fight them within the Mirror Dimension, giving him a massive advantage. In this dimension, he has the ability to bend reality to his will. He can alter gravity or his surroundings at a whim, and do so continuously without much effort. His complete mastery of this ability allows him to fold cities, distort reality, and defy gravity. So again, that's not every ability that each combatant has, but I think it's the most important ones for this battle specifically. So now that we've discussed each combatant's power and relevant skills and abilities as well as their spells, who wins? Well, that's a tricky question. Unfortunately for the MCU, the DCEU is much faster and consistently so, which I think is very, very important. You can highball any universe to crazy speeds and crazy power, but what's consistent? Multiple characters have speed of light or greater feats and statements within the DCEU. While the MCU can get up to light speed and even faster, it's not very consistent, which again, I value. Makkari can react and fight at 224 million miles per hour, giving her relativistic speeds, and just for reference, Makkari is stated to be the fastest being in the universe, making Makkari faster than the likes of Captain Marvel and any of the Avengers who scale to her reaction speed. This isn't at the level of the DCEU, and Strange wouldn't even scale to her regardless. So I'll keep this short. Fate wins via speed, but that's no fun, and I'm not Death Battle, where every fight is pretty much won or lost via speed, so let's equalize that stat. In this case, we have an extremely fun battle. Would Strange try to push Fate's astral form out for an easy victory? Well, if he does, Fate's spirit, or astral form, can actually leave and return to his body at will, if, it works similarly to Doctor Strange. Fate explains that his mind and body can exist in two different places simultaneously. I wouldn't say it's his entire mind, I would say it's closer to a piece of his consciousness. How similar this is to astral projecting, I'll let you guys decide down in the comments, but it seems very, very similar in concept to me, based on what we see within the film. Additionally, his body can still fight while his spirit is somewhere else casting spells, as he released Black Adam from his prison while Fate was battling Sabbac simultaneously across the globe. So if it's an astral battle, Fate should easily win that, as Strange is left vulnerable when astral projecting. As we detailed, Strange's magic is weaker than Fate's. Any offensive spell could easily be swatted away by Fate's magic, and any attack, such as Fate's Sealing Ankh, would easily overpower Strange's magic, and obviously it would be able to hold Strange, as he is physically not as powerful as his magic. So Strange's real win condition here is sealing Fate away with the mirror dimension. If Strange conjures it and leaves Fate there, we've not seen Fate have the ability to cross through other dimensions, and as I mentioned, it takes more than planet-busting power to break out of the mirror dimension. However, if Fate can project his astral form out into the astral plane, assuming it works, similarly, then he may be able to escape the dimension by bewitching Strange into letting him out. If not, then Strange could easily win by trapping Dr. Fate there. There are multiple win conditions for Dr. Fate, while I only really see one for Doctor Strange. Strange could counter Fate's clones, but Fate's clones can be empowered to near Black Adam level stats and would toss around Strange's clones. They each have a counter for the other with their vast arsenal of spells, but one has more powerful magic overall. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that Dr. Fate knows the future, something Strange used to be able to counter via the Time Stone, but without it, Fate would always be a step ahead of Strange, able to foresee Strange's arsenal of spells and formulate a counter with his own vast array of magical sorceries. Not to mention, Fate can read minds, so he could play on Strange's love for those close to him, such as Christine or his fellow Avengers, compromising his state of mind with lifelike illusions and getting the jump on him just as he did with Black Adam. It would be a similar situation to what Mysterio did to Spider-Man. And if we take a look at experience, I think Dr. Fate has the very distinct advantage, and this is something that's pretty important and something we should not overlook. Experience matters, and Dr. Fate has been around for millions of years, specifically the entity that resides within the helmet. Meanwhile, Kent Nelson has been Dr. Fate for about 100 years. Doctor Strange lived through thousands of loops against Dormammu, and also lived through all 14 million battles against Thanos, but to say that all of those added up to millions of years would be a bit of a stretch, especially considering how easily Thanos dismantled the Avengers time and time again. So in the end, I think either character could win, it just depends on how it plays out. Although I do think that Dr. Fate has many more advantages that Doctor Strange probably couldn't overcome, the biggest being Fate's ability to see the future and also read minds. Those two combined would just give Dr. Fate that advantage that I'm not sure Strange could overcome. But again, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and let's try to keep this civil. I know it's hard, but let's try to do it anyway. Remember to like and subscribe. It does really help us out. Go check out our other power scaling videos if you like this one. There's also other versus videos out there that you might enjoy. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and remember the motto, it's Doctor Strange versus Dr. Fate over everything, and I'll see you guys next time.